The goddess will praise me. This is a tenet invoked repeatedly throughout Frieren. And from holy cities to heaven itself, Frieren's world is one where faith is everywhere, but certainty is not. The goddess of creation is prayed to, revered, and written about, yet never seen. Despite this, instead of portraying faith as something to be proven or disproven, Frieren quietly examines the purpose for which people have faith to begin with, and creates models on how different beliefs can coexist respectfully. In this video, I'll be exploring some of the most compelling characters, relationships, and moments that help cement the series' themes of tolerance and kindness when it comes to faith. Frieren presents faith as a multifaceted tool. Rather than functioning as a claim of absolute truth, it's invoked by characters as a personal coping mechanism, an inherited belief, or even a quiet tradition. In this way, belief is shaped less by doctrine and more by identity, lived experience, and individual worldview. It's through this lens that throughout the narrative, Frieren introduces a range of characters who occupy different positions along a spectrum of belief. Frieren herself is largely skeptical of the goddess, not only due to lack of empirical evidence, but because divine affirmation holds little personal significance for her. Having already been praised and remembered in her lifetime, the goddess offers her no meaningful purpose, so she isn't inclined to believe in her existence. However, Frieren still remains optimistic about the existence of heaven, partly because her mentor Flam asserted it to be real, but more importantly because the belief allows her to hope for a reunion with those that she's lost. Hyder is presented as a deliberate juxtaposition of faith and behavior. He possesses a sincere belief in both the goddess and the afterlife, yet is frequently described as corrupt, a reflection of his human weaknesses. Despite this, Hyder consistently performs acts of genuine compassion, most notably in his care for orphans such as Fern. Despite being so devout, he also remains open to the possibility that his beliefs may be incorrect, maintaining that if heaven is real or not, it offers comfort and thus is an inherently positive thing. Fern represents a different perspective of inherited belief. Her faith passed down through Hyder is characterized by quiet sincerity rather than overt devotion. This is most often expressed through prayer in the background of scenes, and though viewers don't see it often, she's described as pious by Croft, who mentions that she never forgets to thank the goddess. Croft himself presents yet another variation of perspective that is perhaps the most compelling. Once a non-believer, he adopts faith later in life out of necessity rather than conviction. For Croft, belief serves the purpose of ensuring that his good deeds are remembered and that his life holds meaning beyond death. This conversion reflects a profound and very relatable loneliness and existential anxiety, yet notably, Croft remains gentle in his beliefs and makes no attempt to impose them on others. Instead, he respects everyone's journey to their own belief system, never forgetting how he was once in their shoes. Through these characters and more, Frieren frames faith and the absence of faith as a set of equally valid and deeply personal responses to existence. No belief system is depicted as definitively correct or incorrect, and skepticism is treated with the same respect as devotion. This philosophy is further reflected in how characters with differing beliefs interact. While perhaps idealized, disagreement is framed as an opportunity for curiosity and reflection rather than conflict. Characters ask questions instead of offering rebuttals. There are no fervent priests attempting conversion, nor hostile skeptics seeking to undermine belief. Instead, disagreement remains non-adversarial, and characters often part ways with a clearer understanding of one another, even while maintaining their differences. It's this commitment to quiet coexistence that Frieren ultimately presents as its most meaningful lesson to the viewer, and a meaningful model for navigating difference in the real world. Two episodes serve as particularly compelling examples of positive interactions between characters with differing beliefs. The first occurs in episode 4, when the hero's party visits the grave of Eisen's family. At the site, Hyder kneels and begins to pray, prompting a quiet exchange among the group. Eisen remarks that he doesn't believe in heaven, instead adhering to the traditional belief that people return to nothingness after death. Himmel responds by suggesting that the existence of heaven ultimately doesn't matter, to which Hyder agrees, adding that whether heaven exists is irrelevant to him. What matters is he believes it should exist, justifying the stance with the simple explanation that it's more convenient to believe that people are granted a peaceful afterlife. Despite these differing views, the entire party joins in prayer for Eisen's family. The scene then transitions forward in time, revealing that nearly 80 years later, an elderly Eisen is shown praying at the exact same graves. This sequence highlights several key ideas. Although Hyder and Eisen clearly disagree, neither takes offense nor attempts to impose their beliefs on the other. Instead, both demonstrate a willingness to accommodate differing perspectives. Their compromise rests in the shared acceptance that heaven may not be real, but that this uncertainty shouldn't preclude belief in something comforting or hopeful. The enduring impact of this exchange is underscored by the final image of Eisen continuing this practice decades later, suggesting both the power of open-minded dialogue and the notion that one doesn't need to be devout or rigorously certain in one's belief to hope for something better. The second moment occurs in episode 11, where the audience is introduced to Kraft, an elderly elven monk. During a conversation in the woods, Frieren questions his devotion to the goddess, expressing her skepticism toward a deity that has never made her presence known. Kraft sympathizes with this perspective, revealing that he himself was also once a non-believer. However, he explains that, much like Hyder, his faith ultimately stemmed from a self-interested need rather than a doctrinal conviction. Kraft recalls that he was once celebrated as a hero, but after living for millennia, his deeds have faded from collective memory. As a result, he feels compelled to believe in the goddess, as there must be someone out there capable of remembering and affirming that his life was meaningful. This view closely parallels Hyder's position in episode 4. Faith is embraced sometimes not because it can be proven, but because it offers comfort and emotional reassurance. Kraft then gently turns the question back to Frieren, suggesting that her belief in heaven may function in the same way, as a convenient belief that allows her to hold on to those that she's lost. This exchange is particularly powerful for several reasons. First, Frieren approaches the conversation with genuine curiosity rather than skepticism aimed at refutation. Her goal is understanding, not debate. Second, Kraft openly acknowledges the selfish nature of his belief and doesn't attempt to justify it through shaky evidence or authority. Finally, even as Kraft draws attention to the quiet contradiction in Frieren's own beliefs, rejecting the goddess while accepting the existence of heaven, he does so with empathy and restraint, careful never to diminish her perspective. These details matter because faith, as depicted in Frieren, is defined by trust in something larger despite the absence of certainty. Both characters recognize this shared condition and engage with one another from a place of mutual respect. Rather than antagonizing each other for inconsistencies or for motivations rooted in self-interest, they acknowledge these traits as inherent to belief itself, recognizing that few belief systems and few individuals are ever entirely consistent or altruistic. Now, before sharing some final thoughts, it's worth acknowledging that the forms of faith depicted in Frieren are almost uniformly framed as morally positive. This is a deliberate narrative choice, one that allows the series to explore tolerance and coexistence without engaging the ways belief can be distorted or weaponized in reality. As a result, Frieren presents an idealized model of faith, one that prioritizes comfort, humility, and mutual respect. And while this model may not fully account for the complexities of belief in the real world, it nevertheless offers a meaningful framework for thinking about how differences might be approached with care and nuance. Through a colorful cast of diverse characters and its depiction of thoughtful, non-adversarial dialogue, Frieren offers a compelling model for how differences in belief might be approached with humility and understanding. The series suggests that belief doesn't need to be coherent to be meaningful, and similarly, faith, or even the absence of it, doesn't need to be internally consistent to serve a purpose. Rather than asking whether the beliefs are logical or true, Frieren asks whether they allow individuals to endure time, loss, and solitude. Faith, as the series implies, doesn't require certainty, just as disagreement doesn't require hostility. And at the end of the day, Frieren doesn't ask its audience to believe in the goddess, but instead asks us to respect the reasons why someone might or might not.